sauces. And for those busy summer days coming up, look no further than their Southern Fried Wings Family Bundle. Wings and Rings, 2 Lincoln locations on O Street or Village Lane. Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today. You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Welcome into the LIBA Business Hour, sponsored by Nats to Tasseling, highlighting local independent businesses in and around Lincoln on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, LIBA Executive Director Travis Filing and Gary Tharnish.
And Gary's gone today. Pam Dingman is filling in for him. Gary's in Scotland, isn't he?
He's in Scotland, yeah.
Do you think he's taking like bagpipe lessons or something?
You know, here's the thing. He definitely has the kilt, which is awkward, which is awkward. So, super awkward if you're Gary Tharnish, because that's the way he rolls.
The socks, the tassels, the hat. What was the hat? I don't remember. Anyway. We're here today with Christina Hill. She owns Home Shield Roofing and Exteriors. So with all the storms coming, I thought this would be a perfect time to have a roofing company come in and talk to us about the storms, about the roofs, what to look for, and all that fun stuff. So welcome.
Thanks, Travis. Thanks for having me, guys. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So a couple of questions I have. So we were just kind of talking right before the show about metal roofing. And I've got a metal roof on one of my buildings that the insurance company, they don't want to pay for it because the wind kind of wiggled the screws loose. And they go, oh, well, we'll just come down and tighten them up and you'll be good. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. This is wood. Wood doesn't like self-heal. It's not still growing. This wood is gone. So do you see a lot of that stuff?
So you've done a lot of DIY, your own type of stuff. So you're probably more educated about this than the average homeowner or business owner when it comes to that. So that's why it's so important to work with a contractor on things like this, because they're the ones who are going to be able to know that exactly, no, we can't put this back together in the way that you're asking us to, because it's an insurance company. They don't install roofs. They don't know what to look for. They're just trying to, what's the easiest way, the cheapest way to get us back to your pre-loss condition that's going to, save us money without being a full replacement if we don't have to use it.
Yeah.
So, that's why it's important to have that roofing contractor, because they'll step in, they'll talk to the insurance company with you and help guide you through that process. Because sometimes you can have a simple fix where you can jump back in, you could do a minor repair, you can tighten some screws, you can, do something that's pretty cost effective. But sometimes it's not as easy as that.
Yeah.
Yep. In your case, it's not as easy as that.
No, and the big thing is getting the insurance company to write the check, because it's like, come on, guys, there's water coming in this building. So. And
then you have more damage on the inside because you have water coming in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it's always fun. So now, for the regular homeowner, is there anything that you need to do? Because we have some real estate. Yeah. And I look and go, is there anything I should be doing for this roof? Do I, because everything else has maintenance. You always have to clean your siding. You always have to make sure that your windows are caulked and all that stuff. But the roof, I haven't done anything on the roof.
Yeah. And Pam had that same question before this. She's like, should I be getting up there? What do I need to be doing? And my answer is no, please don't be getting up on your roof. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Have a contractor come out. So we always say every 2 years, have your roof looked at. What we do during that process is we jump up there. We're going to take pictures of everything so that we have documented proof of what your roof looked like on this date. And then we can come back after a storm date or after the next 2 years, and we compare those pictures to what we saw before, and we can start addressing any issues that you might be having, whether that's something like your fasteners are becoming exposed, your pipe boot needs caulkings, you have some shingles that are starting to lift, your decking starting to curl, anything along those lines. We can try and catch it before it becomes a major issue down the road. And same thing if there is a storm. We have pictures to show, hey, it is actually from this storm date, because I have pictures to show that a year or 2 years ago when we looked at it, there wasn't any issues on it. So it's so important to have your roof looked at after every major storm or 2 years.
It's almost it's kind of like you're preparing a case, so to speak.
Yes, absolutely.
Against that insurance company.
Yeah. I wouldn't say against.
Right. Well,
with
okay.
the insurance company. Yeah.
I guess my mind is there because I'm fighting the insurance company right now. So
rumor has it Travis is a fighter. So if I have this roof and now I have you come out and you're kind of helping me track the aging maintenance of my roof.
Yeah.
Is there like a cost to that?
Nope. So we do complimentary roof inspections. The only time that there ends up being a cost is if there's some repair work that we need to be doing. And then we talk to you about that cost beforehand. But no, just a complimentary inspection.
And is there anything that you should be paying attention to as a homeowner or a building owner, I guess, that the roof, someone needs to get out here immediately? I mean, other than the obvious rains coming in on my head, is there something you go, oh, that maybe it looks cracked, or is there something? Just what are the warning signs?
Yeah, the obvious ones are if you start seeing spots on your ceiling. So you'll probably start seeing those spots around, light fixtures or in kind of areas where two rooms come together, or in your bathrooms, things like that. Look for the spots on the ceilings are the major ones that we say. The other one is if you get massive hail, there's probably a good chance that your roof is damaged if you see damage to your car, if a vehicle was left out. Or walk around your house if you see damage like your downspouts on your gutters or your AC unit, those fins that are on there. If you see those that are kind of crumpled or moved a little bit, there's a good chance you probably have some roof damage too, because if it hit those, it's hitting your roof.
Okay. What about like you see in your gutter, your downspouts, you see those little grains.
Yep.
Is that a warning sign, or is that just normal?
Yes and no. So those are the granules that are adhered to the shingles, and those are on there to help protect against like UV rays or some of those hail. So they do tend to put excessive amounts on there. So in the beginning, after you've had a roof done, you will see quite a bit of those wash out in your gutters and in your downspouts after a major storm event. If you notice a bunch of those as well, yeah, that's probably a warning sign. But seeing, a little bit here and there is not anything to be concerned about.
Okay.
And you'll kind of just see throughout the age of your roof. That'll just happen as rain comes. Just throughout the life of your roof, more and more start to fall off.
Okay. Very good.
So one of the things I do to my roof, and I've already disclosed myself as a complete nerd today, is I have a townhouse and I'm on the end unit. And when the snow blows, I always get the big snowdrift on the roof of my townhouse unit. And that snow last year, I want to say I had like a 4 to 6 foot drift on the roof.
Oh, man.
And from when I was in Denver, and everybody did this in Denver, but nobody really does it here. I still have like a roof rake, and I go ahead and pull that big drift down. It's a great bicep workout, by the way.
And probably shoulder too.
Oh yeah.
Oh goodness.
Rocking those biceps and shoulders. And then my neighbors always kind of make fun of me, but I've never had water in those areas where I have those big drifts. And so do you recommend that if it can be easily done?
Yes, if it can be easily done, but be careful that you're not using that and scraping on your roof. That's a very good thing that you're doing, probably because if you have that sit up there and start to melt, that's where the ice damming starts to happen. In Nebraska, that's a big thing for us, is those ice dams. And so many of these roofs that we have around here, you have contractors that are not installing them properly. And so what you should be doing, if you're installing it correctly, is there's a code required item called ice and water barrier that goes along the eaves of the roof, right behind the gutters on the roof. And this is an adhesive, sticky membrane that goes directly on the roof decking. So it protects against ice damming that would work its way up under the shingles and start to go towards your roof decking. So if that's not installed, and you have an ice dam, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to have water come into your house or get behind that fascia, and you're going to start having wood rot. And we see that so often here in Nebraska is contractors trying to cut corners. And so they don't install this properly. And then you have rotted out wood. So next time you have your roof done, it's more costly because you have wood rot.
So one thing I did on one of my buildings was I went down to the do-it-yourself store, right? And they have that foam that you put in your gutter. Have you seen that?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And so I put it in there because I've got this huge acorn tree and I'm tired of fishing crap out of the gutters. And it was great for about 2 years. And then all of a sudden I go back into one of the corner offices and you could see that stain like growing across the ceiling. I'm like, what is going on? And my neighbor, who's a retired roofer, he comes over and he goes, get that crap out of here, you know? And so what happened was it started filling with silt. The foam thing did. And so I ripped them all out. So now I'm back to doing, scraping stuff out of gutters. But my question is, there's so many products out there to keep stuff out of your gutters. Are any of them good? And I'm asking because I'm tired of cleaning out my dang gutters.
That's a good question. I think the misconception is that when people put gutter guards or anything on their gutters is that it magically becomes maintenance free, which is not the truth.
That's the dream.
It's not maintenance free. You still have to get up there and clean them out. And stuff still gets in it. And so you start having that buildup in your gutter. I am not a fan of them just because I've seen the problems and the issues that they can cause. What you're saying exactly is you thought it was going to be helpful, but it turned out it wasn't quite. And so unless you're educated and unless you plan on doing the maintenance, it's not worth it. And then if you're going to be doing maintenance, why do you have them? Like, what's your goal with this? So I'm not a fan of them.
Okay.
But if you're, I don't know, have another company come out and clean them out for you.
Yeah. No, that's me.
I have a quick, just if anybody has any questions about their roof or anything, again, the text line is open. Comments on streams are open. So if you want to text in any questions, 402-464-5685, we'll happily answer them about your roof or anything else for that matter. And then also the streams, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, ask any questions you have. I just wanted to put that plug in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is your chance. If you guys are seeing problems with your roof out there or have questions, call in.
I know the roof is the most interesting thing in your life right now, but
it's not the most interesting thing until it is.
Yeah, it's
until
very important.
Something's wrong. Yep.
It's very important though.
I know when I started in this industry 5 years ago, I never even looked at a roof. And then once I started in it, I started looking at things. I'm like, why is that done that way? Like, you don't even look at it until it becomes something that you're focused on.
Yeah. And it's funny because, over the years, as we've bought different properties and whatnot, you see different products coming out. And one of them that I'm seeing right now is the spray on. It looks like a clear coat kind of a thing. I'm like, hey, this looks pretty good. It's cheap. They say I can get like 50 years out of my roof. I'm on board for that, right? Is that stuff? Tell me, do you guys do that stuff? Is it? No.
No.
No. Here you go. Killing my dream again.
I'm sorry, Travis. I'm sorry. No, I'm not a fan of that either. I would take a close look at what your warranty says before you do anything with that. And so I don't want to knock anyone's business or their dreams or whatever. I'm not knowledgeable enough to know the exact fine details, but based off of what I know about warranty is that would void a roof warranty. At the same time, this product is being pitched to extend the longevity of your roof. So you may even be past the warranty time before this is something that you try and do. I don't know that there's been enough testing or enough to know the full extent of what this does to a roof to know that it's something that I would promote or be on board with. You should not have any type of power washing tools up on a roof and spraying your granules with that.
Well, my thought is if you can kind of clear coat, if you will, your shingles, wouldn't the shingle factory company be already doing that?
Right.
I'm sure they do to some degree, but
those granules, the purpose of them is to protect against UV rays, protect that asphalt mat that's behind it, because that's what's actually keeping water out. So you cover that completely and you don't let it breathe at all. What's happening? what's happening behind those granules to that asphalt mat.
So you could probably start seeing blistering
Yep.
and stuff like that because the heat has nowhere to go.
Yep.
We had a question on Facebook. Matt Hill asked, please explain the insurance process and maybe also between like different kinds of roofs. Because I know you were talking with me before the show, like a tin or a metal roof might have a different insurance process than, a shingle roof.
Absolutely. So there's even more recently, we're seeing more and more different fancy, fun, you could call it, insurance exclusions or types of policies for roofs. So it's so important that you have a local agent that you have a relationship with that can go over your policy with you every year, because they are changing continually. Now I'm a contractor, so I can't necessarily talk policy with a homeowner because that's not my role. But from what I've seen is you have your typical coverage, which is like an RCV policy, a replacement cost value. So if your roof gets damaged, the insurance company is going to help pay for a new roof. So replacement, what that replacement would be. There's another policy, it's called actual cash value, which would be what your roof is worth in the condition it is in right now. So if you have a 10-year-old roof, it's a 30-year shingle, it's going to be 30% depreciated. They're not going to pay for the full thing. They're just going to pay for what it is right now. And the new one that we're seeing is roof schedule programming, to where I don't even fully know that myself or the insurance company knows how they pay that. I haven't quite figured it out. It's they
That's
don't
scary.
pay for things like metals, or it's basically just your shingles in the current condition they're in, but not any of the accessories that go along with it. And then a separate deductible is taken out of that. And if you have any other damage like gutters or siding, you pay a second deductible on that.
Oh my goodness.
So it's so important that if you have a high deductible, or I don't know what coverage that you have.
Okay.
It's so important, because when it comes time to actually have a new roof, that's not the time to find out that you don't have the coverage that you need. And then the other thing that you want to make sure that you have, especially if it is kind of an older roof, is something called ordinance and law coverage. So this would mean that the insurance company would pay to get your roof up to the code that is currently being implemented. So for things like that ice and water barrier I was talking about, if your roof didn't have that before, well, it has to have that now because we have to abide by code. Well, insurance, if you don't have that coverage, insurance won't pay for that. So that comes out of your own personal pocket. So there's so many things. And
Loopholes.
then, what you were talking about with the metal roofing is that's a new thing, is these exclusions that are now being added. Specifically for metal roofing, you have something called a cosmetic damage exclusion, to where if hail or a tree branch or something doesn't penetrate through the roof surface, it's not covered because it's considered cosmetic damage. It's still functioning. It's still okay. You don't have any issues with it. But something like a metal roof, you're going to start seeing things like paint peeling away, rust can happen. It's not necessarily cosmetic damage. So important to have a relationship with a contractor that knows how to talk about these things and can help get you back to pre-storm condition.
Okay. So let's, because we're slowly starting to run out of time, let's change gears a little bit. So you own the company.
Yes.
Don't see a lot of women in your line of work. Do you just own the company? You actually on the roof swinging a hammer?
Not on the roof swinging a hammer necessarily. I'll help out with some repairs here and there, but we have some amazing team members. I've got them up the street right now on a bank roof doing a roof for me as I'm sitting here with you. Couldn't do it without our team members. My husband is also a part of the company with me as well. He tends to do more of the commercial, new construction, working with builders side, and I've taken on working with residential homeowners side of things. So I am up on a roof. I'm doing inspections. I'm meeting with homeowners, working with insurance companies, doing final walkthroughs. I take care of customers from start to finish.
Very good. And I know you've done some work for my company. So you want to talk about a tough situation. My wife drove into one of my buildings. Like
What?
actually, kind of thought she was in reverse, was in drive, and it was a lot of fun.
Something with wearing a flip flop, I think too.
There was a whole story behind it, and the tough part of you just got to smile and go, it's okay.
It's okay, honey. It's okay.
With all respect, Travis, I've heard her husband can be a lot.
Oh my gosh, yeah. She's a saint. I mean, having to put up with me. But you guys actually came out and fixed, because we had hardy board on that
Mhm.
particular building, had done all that, fixed the window. Of course, the wall was gone. I'm just glad she hit right where the stairs went. I'm just glad she didn't go down the stairs.
Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it was a mess. It was a show, as they say. Well, at least that's half of what they say. So, but yeah, so fantastic. So give us a little info.
Few more minutes. but
Okay.
Got you.
So give us some info on the company. Tell people how to get a hold of you, get their inspection, their free inspection. And
Yeah, absolutely. So, Home Shield Roofing and Exteriors. Like I said, it's myself and my husband. We've been in business since 2017. I've been on board since 2019. So this is actually my 5th year in the industry. We have an Omaha office that we just opened this year as well. So we take care of our Lincoln area and Omaha area, and then just recently got licensed in Iowa. So we can do
wow.
work in Iowa as well. Several ways to get in touch with us. We're super active on our social media. So like our Facebook, Instagram, follow along, website. I've got tons and tons of tools on there. You can schedule a free storm damage inspection directly on our website. You can just select what date works for you and what time. Contact information is all there, and that's just homeshieldne, like Nebraska.com.
very nice. And then you wanted to talk a little bit too about your group that
Yeah. So the other thing that's kind of a passion project, I guess, of mine is that I created a group for women in the industry. It's called Harness and Heels Women in Roofing. We were founded in 2021 and have grown to about 2,000 members from across the United States and into Canada. And we help with just helping women in the industry find resources for education, for proper training, for mentorship, just asking your general questions. We were just talking about like PPE and what do you wear and shorts and things like that.
Personal protection equipment.
Those aren't,
Know your equipment, peeps.
those are not necessarily things you can go up to a male colleague and ask, hey, where do I find this? So having another female to ask questions to is very powerful.
And is the group just roofing, or is it construction in general?
No, just roofing.
Okay.
Just roofing. Yeah.
How many members?
I have almost 2,000 of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I
fantastic.
had no idea there were that many women out there. I started it thinking there might be 20 of us. I had no idea. So
And now there's 2,000.
Yep.
And where do they find that?
That's on Facebook under Harness and Heels Women in Roofing is our free resource.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for coming in and talking with us today.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate the time. We're going to go to break and come back and talk insurance.
Hey Nebraska! Register today for the 40th annual Cornhusker State Games, taking place July 11th through the 21st in Lincoln, Omaha, and other Nebraska communities. The Cornhusker State Games features 70 sports for athletes of all ages and abilities. Price increases are approaching, so register early and save. For details, go to cornhuskerstategames.com. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel with Gatorade, brought to you by Pepsi Cola of Lincoln, a proud partner of the Cornhusker State Games.
Here you go. Coffee's on me and my new BFF. I thought I was your best friend forever. BFF like best financial friend at Members Own Credit Union. Right now, they're offering $100 when you consolidate or transfer a loan or an existing credit card balance and meet requirements. Plus, you get great rates and free advice from a financial partner that will put you first. That sounds like a match made in heaven. Members Own Credit Union is the type of bestie you can count on. Get started today at memberzonecu.org/BFF. Limitations may apply. Equal housing opportunity.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
LIBA! Tired of the same old routine? Then bring your crew out to Haymarket Park for a thrilling season of Lincoln Salt Dogs baseball and unleash the fun. Enjoy action-packed home games all week long from May through August. It's the perfect change-up to the typical family night or makes for a home run outing with friends and coworkers. Experience the magic and get in on the excitement. Visit saltdogs.com to secure your tickets now. Unleash the fun.
it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down. Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals in everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com. Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
If you've been putting off your health, what are you waiting for? The summer 10-week challenge at Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is exactly what you need to kickstart your wellness. Farrell's gives you all the tools, coaching, support, and accountability you need to be successful. The 10-week challenge begins on June 8th, and monthly payments are now available. Head to fxblincoln.com for all the details. Stop taking your health for granted and get started with Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This segment sponsored by Ascend Aesthetics.
Now.
All right, now
we're good.
We're slowly getting
getting
our timing down here. So, welcome back. Our guest has run a little bit late today, but that's okay because I got lots to talk about. So I read this Redfin survey. It was like yesterday or day before yesterday, and it was talking about what they broke it out by generations, right? And they were talking about what generations the most important thing that they're bringing with them to the voting booth this year. And I thought, okay, this will be pretty interesting. And the number one issue for Gen Zers, voting age Gen Zers, which are like 18 to 27, is being able to buy a home. That's their number one issue, right? And you kind of look, I can totally see it because I feel, so my kids, 21 and 22, one of them owns a home. One of them is trying to find a home. Good luck. But the average house in Lincoln, $280,000. Oh my God.
I don't have that much money and I'm 20. So,
yeah. And it's one of those where, you probably want to be buying a house at some point.
At some point, maybe not right now when I'm in school, but eventually.
Yeah, it's you want it to be in your future.
I saw the same thing for my son who is in his early 30s and he's professional locally, works hard. He has a really good job. And it's sad to see how long the struggle was for him to find a house. And when he did find a house, Travis, as a mom, I hate to put this out there because it makes me sound really old. I was kind of like, oh, that's expensive.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he bought right in that average Lincoln cost.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I just live outside of town, not very far. And we bought a home. And again, here you and I are going to just sound like an old couple here, but
that's what I'm here to balance. I'm here to balance
right.
you, Travis.
You bring the average
Thanks,
age down 15 years. So
Maybe more.
But maybe. So like 20 years ago, I bought my house. It was 127,000.
Right.
And my wife, she bought her first house in Lincoln. It was 50,000. That was in 96. Now, granted, yeah, that's almost 30 years ago, but still, from 50,000 to almost 300,000.
And it's not just us here in Lincoln. I think it's easy to say, oh, well, this is a Lincoln problem. I get the opportunity through some of my leadership roles to travel around the country a little bit, and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And in Denver, where I bought my first home as a young engineer in the mid 90s, and I remember it was 120,000. And at the time, I was a 2-engineer family. We're like, oh my gosh, are we going to be able to pull this off?
Right.
At 120,000. And it was a simple 1950s, 1,200 square foot brick ranch. This was not a fancy place. And I look at what that house is now, because, once in a while you kind of look up and see what it is. And the last time it sold for $475,000.
Oh my gosh.
And so you're looking at nationwide, that is homeownership the American dream anymore.
Yeah.
And it hurts my soul to sit by Ben and hear Ben say, like, hey, I don't know if I can get there, right?
So I caught a quote from Grant Cardone. You know him. He's the big real estate mogul, kind of an obnoxious guy, but he knows real estate. He said, and here, this is a direct quote. He said, the homeownership dream is dead in Biden's America. Let that sink in for a second.
Breaks my heart.
It really does. And I was looking through going, okay, is it? Because everybody goes, oh, this is dead or this is gone. And so I started doing some math. And so I looked through and said, okay, 5 years ago, the average house was 190 grand. And now it's 280. That's in Lincoln. These are all Lincoln numbers. And then you look at mortgage rates. 5 years ago, they were 3.5%. Now it's 8%. Taxes on this size of a house went from 3,600 to 4,700. Insurance, which is going through the roof. I mean, we're all looking at 25%.
How can it not? Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to. I mean, because it's part of it's inflation. Part of it is, we seem to be having more storms right now. But you start doing the math on all of that, and it would have been cheaper for you to buy 2 houses in 2019.
Wow.
Because your mortgage would have been $1,180, and now a $280,000 mortgage at 8% with taxes and everything else would have been almost $2,400. So you could have bought 2 houses 5 years ago for less than the price of one today.
And that's not that long. I mean, you said what, 2019?
Yeah,
that's not that long ago.
That's 5 years ago.
That's not that long ago. This is not like we're talking like early 2000s. Like, this is 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, and what that means is, for people that are in their 20s or 30s trying to buy a house, that they're going to have roommates.
Right.
They're going to have to rent a room out or rent the basement out, or, I mean, it's really just changing the way we're living as Americans.
I mean, not only that, but also, like, if you're wanting to be a single homeowner, you're like, I'm just saying, if I'm by myself and I'm wanting to buy a house, that's, I mean, if you're married to somebody, you have twice the amount of finances. But, if you're a single homeowner, that's would be a lot more difficult.
Yeah, that's extremely difficult. And when I was talking to my son, because he's looking for a place, I said, you know what? The option may be better to look at a duplex or a triplex, buy the building, live in one unit, rent the other 2 out. Because you have, you only have to put down 5%, 10%, depending on your banker. And then you can now try and offset some of those costs. But again, it's a long-term building, but it's not a long-term place for you to live and raise a family and whatnot. But that may be the next option.
It may, but if you look at that townhouse or the smaller townhouse market, you're still seeing that it's become super overinflated. And I'll use the example of my townhouse which is just a place I decided I would park myself. Why the market was so crazy.
Right.
And then now I appear to be maybe parked there permanently. I researched it when I bought it, and they were built in the 90s, and they had only gone from about 195 to 110 in the time period from the mid 90s to about 2015. And right now they've been selling for between 200 and 225. So you're really seeing the bottom of the market has even come up more, making it even harder for entry level people to have a house.
Well, and that's something I was looking at too, because this is a perfect opportunity. People start having conversations with your kids, your grandkids, because they need to understand, even if you rent, this is all part of the equation of your rent. The taxes, the insurance, it's all wrapped up into it. And one thing that I was thinking about when I was kind of reading this, and I had done a little bit of research, I thought, I wonder how many people could own, if they were buying their home today, right? Think about the play. Oop, I just hit the microphone. Think about the play. I got my hands are going everywhere here. I'm a mess.
Big gestures.
He's a hands talker, people.
I am very much so. But think about your condo, right?
Yeah.
And what you paid for it, but what you would, if you bought it today at 8% interest with the taxes, with the insurance, could you be able to afford it? It's probably a 50-50 proposition of whether you could or you couldn't, And go ahead.
I mean, personally, for me, I would be able to afford it, but I'm in a different place in life, because I think the other thing you have to look at as you're looking at those entry-level home buyers that are in their 20s and 30s is they also have children. And then the next issue we have that we don't talk about in this community enough is the cost of daycare. And I remember very well as a junior engineer with a big house payment and 2 car payments and a daycare payment that was my whole first paycheck plus $20.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just morally defeating that you're exhausted and you have these 2 babies at home and you're trying to figure it out. And as an engineer, you need to be at work to get your time in for your license.
Yeah.
So you're still looking at people that, now their house payment is $2,400 a month, but their daycare payment is probably $2,400 a month too.
That's it's
and what does that do for employers? Well, that means that when you have that person showing up and asking for that wage, that's not the wage they want anymore. That's the wage they have to survive.
Yeah.
And wrapping your head around all these expenses and what it means, and that they're really affecting our lifestyle dramatically.
Yeah. And I mean, on that note, one of our where our main marketing firm's office is, we had somebody come and ask us if we would sell the building because they wanted to open up a daycare. And so we were kind of talking with them, working with them, and then they decided they didn't want to do a daycare. And then the superintendent of a neighboring school district came out and started talking to us about keeping it going. He's actually trying to help find somebody to come open a daycare because he's having trouble keeping teachers and all these employees because there's no daycare. It's crazy. I mean, I think back when when our kids were young and, daycare was uber expensive, but now it's just gone through the roof. I couldn't imagine it. I just couldn't imagine it.
Is your guest here?
No, but that's Bruce. Bruce is here. He could probably come in and talk to us. Bruce, an old friend of mine.
We have an audience today.
That's right. We have a heckler. So, yeah. So when I was looking through talking about a couple of the houses that I have, like a 1-bedroom, we have this 1-bedroom, we rent it for $1,100 a month, right? My payment today, based on the value and taxes and all that stuff, would be almost $1,400. I rent it for $1,100, and there's a little bit, I make about $100 a month on it until the hot water heater goes out, and then I'm toast. But I look at it and go, wow, if I were to rent this thing out today, it'd be $1,500. A 2-bedroom, the payment would be $800 higher than what I'm getting for the rent. The 3-bedroom, $1,000. And I'm sitting here going, wow, you wonder why all these young people are leaving Nebraska. Why you can't keep them. This is one of the big reasons. Taxes is one of the big reasons that there's no affordable housing. And once you move, for the most part, you're not coming back.
You say that, and I'm going to be devil's advocate
Please
just a
do.
little bit with you.
Because I'm depressing myself.
You're making yourself all sad over there. Little sad panda on the radio on Saturday morning. None of us need that, Travis. So I went to engineering school here, and I moved to Denver when I got my engineering degree. And the reality is Denver was so much more expensive than here.
Yeah.
And I think where we're experiencing expenses where we're at, nationwide, this housing thing. And I don't know what, somehow we just didn't keep up. And then the other thing is that we need to just kind of sit here and take a humble pie on is we've changed what the entry-level house is.
Right.
The entry-level house that was built in the 50s and 60s with one bathroom.
Yeah.
We don't think it's acceptable to have one bathroom anymore, right? You
Yeah.
have to have a bathroom off the master suite. These things become expensive as you're adding bathrooms and bigger kitchens. And I think we've added like 1,000 feet to that base house.
Yeah.
And then it comes back to, okay, we did that and maybe we can't really afford that anymore.
Right.
As an expectation. And so we really need to look at, around the country, this housing shortage and where are we going to put people? I have an employee right now that works for me, and I'm really sad about this. She took the job, great recruit, came from Texas. By the way, she's so happy to be in Nebraska instead of Texas. She thinks like we're rock stars here. But what's the sad part? She's living with a family member because she hasn't been able to find housing yet. And she's been here, since early spring.
Wow.
And so you look at that, and that's even like, hey, renting housing. Can't find it.
Yeah.
Can't find it. And so those are the things I think we need to continue to work on. You see all the apartments going up, and then you have to ask yourself, okay, does everyone want to be in an apartment? And I think there's a time in your life when you do want to be in an apartment. And I'll say my 83-year-old mother loves her apartment.
Okay.
She doesn't want to be in assisted living. She doesn't want to be in a plus 55 community. She wants to be in an apartment. And the reason is because she wants to talk to Ben when she sees him getting his mail every day or walking into the unit. Sorry, Ben. And like, she's going to totally hang him up with like some bizarre off the wall conversation. And she loves it.
Yeah. She needs conversation.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
so I get there's a time when people want to be in apartments, but there's also a time when you need to get people into housing when they have families and
right.
and
Yeah.
different things
Apartment
like-
living with a family, that would be difficult.
I mean, I did it. I did it in Denver because I had to,
Right.
for an extended period of time, and it was not awesome when you're trying to keep a toddler quiet.
Yeah.
For the neighbors is like I said, not awesome.
Well, it's funny because I grew up in Cleveland, but I lived in Denver for several years. I've lived in New York City and St. Louis and all these big cities, and that's kind of the norm. But at the same time, now I look at it and go, oh my God. And then of course these people have dogs. It's just, yeah, you think that would be a lot. You can't just kick the kids out to go play because that's a little nerve-wracking.
And I think from a small business point where we really have to take this in is if we're trying to recruit people, we can still hey, let's shoot for the big cities, right?
Right.
And I look at the North Platte model, and I got to hand it to North Platte because I had a chance to talk with some of their leaders about a year ago. And they actually went to Denver and started saying, hey, if you're going to work remotely, do it from North Platte.
Yeah.
Our cost of living is cheap here, and we're building apartments, and you drive through North Platte and you're like, wow, what happened here? This place is almost sexy, And so we're going to have to focus on how do we build our community like that.
Okay.
And I think it's just a new day for recruiting and retaining employees, because the big thing is okay, now the housing is more expensive and it becomes this vicious circle. So now I need to hire a receptionist or an engineer or whatever. And now the wage for that person to have an acceptable life has gone up 10 or 20%.
Right.
And so now that person lives here and they're paying $1,400 a month rent, and they want to go get a fast food value meal, and the fast food value meal, because by the way, the fast food people have to live somewhere too,
Yeah.
right? And now their value meal is like $12.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about that after the break. We're going talking with Pam, and Yeah, the whole North Platte thing is kind of interesting. So let's catch a break, and we'll catch you on the backside.
Kingdom Sports Minute with Ron Brown.
I hear it all the time, and I've said it myself. Stop judging. Don't judge. The Bible says don't judge. Really? That's not true. The Bible does tell us to judge. It tells us not to judge unrighteously. But with a righteous, sound judgment, we are to judge. We have to know the difference between a ball and a strike, just like a home plate umpire has to know the difference. We have to know the difference between the girl or the guy we want to marry, because if we don't have good judgment on that one, that's a lifetime of disaster. Sound judgment helps extract the two kingdoms, the kingdom of man from the kingdom of God. And listen to what it says in Romans chapter 12, verse 3. The Apostle Paul says, "For through the grace given to me, I say to everyone among you not to think more highly of himself than he ought to think, but to think so as to have sound judgment, as God has allotted to each a measure of faith." So in our judgment, we have the opportunity to have a righteous judgment in Christ.
Visit kingdomsports.online.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Ready to upgrade your combine in 2024? The team at Landmark Implement is here to help find the right combine to fit your operations needs. Choose from 4.75% for up to 60 months or a 12-month interest waiver, followed by John Deere financial rates with approved credit through the end of June. When you purchase a pre-owned S or X combine from Landmark, know you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running. View our current inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Tread's Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony. This is where expectations are exceeded every time. Make your appointment today at Tread Central Tire Pros, just south of Cortland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Tread Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Hammond Jewelry, here to drop some knowledge bombs on how to wow your woman. Size matters, but not the way you're thinking, guys. Make sure you know her ring size before you even think about popping the question. If you aren't a surprise kind of guy, ask her. I bet she knows her size. If you are a surprise kind of guy, bring in a piece and we can get close to the right size. We will make it perfect for her when the time is right. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Hammond Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Back to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This segment sponsored by Integrated Behavioral Health Services.
All right, we're back. And Greg Mendoza's with us, Mendoza Family Insurance. So thanks for coming out today, Greg. Have some questions. We have some. Pam actually handed me a list of questions.
And it's on yellow paper.
And so, yeah.
I haven't had yellow paper in a while.
I'm glad it made you happy, Ben.
I'm so happy about this.
So just like some casual questions about insurance. So I didn't disclose you. So my father was an insurance man. And when we were kids, when we were kids back in the day, he would have us answer, and people would call the house of the insurance man, and he would have us get the person's information.
Oh, how smart.
And so it was, and I'm sure people were like, why is an 8-year-old asking me for my VIN number? Right. But I learned a lot about insurance, just like literally growing up in the industry and seeing and hearing the things that would happen to people. And so, hey, you're here with us today to talk about insurance. You're the licensed insurance person, right? Which you always want that licensed person. If I was to go home today and say like, oh, hey, I need to take a look at my insurance, which is not the most exciting thing in the world, what would be the most important things that I need to look and make sure my policy has coverage on?
I think that's a very important question and point, especially today. You know, you talk about dad insurance years ago versus today. It has changed a lot. The most important thing right now, especially with claims, Mother Nature is hitting us hard, is to really understand the policy itself, especially on a home policy. What you're seeing out there today, because of cost, agents are cutting coverages wherever they can. They'll make changes to the client's policies. And I don't think sometimes the client truly understands, what I'm getting. What we see as a consumer is $1. Right? How much do I owe you, Travis?
Yeah.
How much do I owe you, Pam? That's all I care about. Let me pay my bill and get out of here. How important it is to really, truly understand that policy. What does it say? It's a contract. It's just like anything else you go into. If I lease a car, I owe you $500 a month, and you're going to take care of my car at no cost while I own that. The home policy today changes. Deductibles are changing. The type of replacement cost that goes on in that policy, I could kill you with a bunch of jargon, but there's a replacement cost, there's a functional replacement, and then there's an actual cash value. And what I'm seeing today in the industry is the unfortunate side.
Yeah.
I need my costs down, Ben, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this. I need to own a home. I'd be able to afford a home. I got to cut my cost. And so those changes in that home policy are being made. And the client truly not understanding. I mean, this is very sad to say, but you call me up, I need to shave my cost, I need to get it down. And if this is the only product I sell, the only option I have to Travis is saying, here you go.
And now Travis has taken a cheaper policy and disaster strikes.
Disaster strikes,
and his house is, God help us, the people in Omaha who lost everything. It's so horrible. So now Travis is in a position where he's lost everything, and now he finds out only 70% of his stuff is covered, or maybe he was a renter, he didn't have the right policy, and nothing is covered.
Right. And that's
catastrophic.
And that's where you hear, I come from claims. I talked to Travis before. What drove me to this side was I was a semi-litigation rep, and I saw what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sad. And it was the question of, there's not enough money in the bank to pay for this policy. It's a liability policy. Well, what can I do? Could I have done something different? Yeah. What would that cost have been? We're talking minimum. We're talking $200 a year to have everything taken care of so you can sleep at night versus, oh no, there's not enough.
And that's something too that, it's, you see the commercials, of course, name your own price. Really? How does that work? And that's just what you're talking about. It's, well, okay, you only have $200, a month to spend. Well, now your deductible is 10 grand, or, are deductibles getting absurdly high with these cheap policies?
They're getting so high.
Yeah.
I'm to the point where you wonder, why do I insure my home?
Yeah.
Why don't I just absorb that cost? Why, I get this from my clients a lot. At this cost, I might as well just pay it for myself.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I get it. But if you think about it, it's cheaper to pay now than later. But I think I'd have no friends in the upper world of insurance. I come here to fight for the client. I really do. I think more agents need to advocate as we do as an agency, because the client only knows what the client knows. When it comes to claims, when it comes to the policy, you're going to think I'm dumb. When you talk about what you loved, engineering, I get really upset when I see the lizard.
Right.
The nice lady.
Right.
Save, funny. And that's what the consumer knows.
Yeah, it's all fun and games until a tornado hits or a windstorm takes half of your roof off. And now the lizard and the nice lady is where are they at?
Yeah, and then that's the consumer. This is funny stuff, but there's no funny thing that happened. What we just saw, in the Omaha area.
you lost a roof and now you've put a roof on a credit card.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah, and to help people understand the difference between those replacement costs, functional replacement, or an actual cash value policy, we're talking $300 to $400 a year.
Wow.
$300 to $400 a year to save, but lose 8, 10, 12.
Or very well could lose everything.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're that deep into it and you can't fix it, then it's time to sell. So we've got about 30 seconds left. How do people get a hold of you?
Just give me a call.
Okay.
Mendoza Family Insurance, 402-817-2288.
Fantastic.
Or Greg at MendozaFamilyInsurance.com. We are a source. We are a resource. We love to help. It's not about selling. Just anytime we can help somebody.
Yeah, just small Lincoln family business.
Small Lincoln family business. We are you. We understand it. We get it.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for coming and talking to us.
Yeah, well, this was the LIBA Business Hour right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Thank you, Travis, Pam, coming in, running the show. Awesome. You had some great guests, even though maybe one of the guests didn't show up on time.
I was by a tornado.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was.
He's looking at claims.
Next up on The Ticket, we got the Movement Hour with Rob Coleman. So make sure to stay tuned in for that. But until then, we're out of here.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Haviland. This week's special through June 11th is buy 3 ribeyes, get 1 ribeye free. Also, $1 off all brands of crackers. Locations at 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive